So for the last 18 months or so, I've been a bit of a Barefoot shoe fanboy. So apart from half a dozen times where I've worn regular trainers, it's been Barefoot shoes all of the way. I haven't even got a pair of dress shoes anymore, so if I need to smarten up a bit, my footwear is definitely letting me down. And in that time, I truly believe that wearing Barefoot shoes has improved my posture, it's improved my biomechanics, it's got rid of a few ailments like my hip pain, and for a little while, knee pain. But in recent times, I'm starting to lose confidence a little bit in Barefoot shoes. So in this video I want to talk a little bit about the journey of how I've got onto Barefoot shoes, why I've lost some confidence in them, and where I go from here. So it might help one or two of you out if you're thinking about going to Barefoot, or it may not. I brought some shoes with me to show you some of the problems that I've had with them as well. So yeah, I'll find somewhere to sit down, although I'm enjoying my walk at the moment. Yeah, and we'll have a little bit of chat about Barefoot shoes and zero drop as well, so that's another thing that I need to talk about. After 3 weeks of glorious sunshine, we've got some rain, so the rivers are definitely appreciating it. Let's see if we can get across here without falling in. So a little over 2 years ago, I bought my first pair of zero drop trail runners. I was doing the Cumbria Way, which is a 70 odd mile hike across the Lake District, and I'd seen or heard so many good things about zero drop shoes. So if you don't know what zero drop shoes are, imagine a high heel shoe where your feet are like that, so the heel lifts your foot up to that angle. Zero drop is more like a flip-flop, so from your heel to the ball of your foot is perfectly flat. And conventional trainers have actually got a slight little tilt to them, so that alters the way that you stand, your structure, your biomechanics, the way your body works. Zero drop shoes sort of align your body, allegedly, how it should be. We weren't born or brought on this planet wearing shoes, were we? So yeah, I swapped to these Ultra Lone Peak 7s, I think they were, to do the Cumbria Way. And I got to the point where I was wearing those shoes all of the time. And they took a little bit of getting used to, a bit of wearing in, because, since I'd been walking on a bit of a heel, my calf muscles work differently. So wearing a zero drop shoe means that you use your calf muscles more, so you need to get used to wearing them. But anyway, I found as a byproduct of this, my hip pain had gone, my knee pain had gone. And so I played football for years and years, and I had dodgy knees as it was, and this just seemed to cure everything for me. So I did a little bit more research into this a few months later, and I saw Chase Mountains, I think it is. He does some really good stuff on Barefoot shoes. So a Barefoot shoe, which I'll show you in a minute, is basically a very minimal shoe where you can feel every little thing below you. It's a very thin little bit of rubber underneath. The shoes are really flexible. You feel your feet mold to whatever it is you're walking on, and it's supposed to be the most natural way for you to walk. So I managed to get hold of a pair of Vivo Barefoot Tracker Forest, or Forest Tracker Escape, I think they're called. So I'll show you those in a minute. Let's have a look at this first. I could actually do with my waterproof shoes today. We've got the new version of the Ultra Lone Peaks. I think these are the 9 Plus. Really comfortable, but they're not waterproof. Let's have a little look at some Barefoot shoes. So these are the Vivo Barefoot Tracker Forest, and these are, I'm going to say it, my favourite boots that I've ever owned. However, I can't wear them at the moment. I don't feel confident in them And there's a few other problems with them as well, which I am going to talk about. I mentioned about zero drop boots. So although it looks thicker at the sole end than it does at the front, you know, it's exactly the same height from heel to the ball of your foot. Look how flexible these are these are a hiking boot. The leather on these is so soft and they are incredibly comfortable. They do feel like slippers. However, there's no cushioning in them whatsoever. So even though these have got a really good grippy sole on them, these are made by Michelin. You know, if you stand on a twig like that, you will feel it through the bottom of the boot. So on, you know, rough terrain, rocky terrain, you know, you sometimes get sore feet. Back in April, I had a little bit of a slip coming off one of the edges, and if I'd been wearing these, I probably wouldn't have had that slip, and I might not have been making this video today. Like I said, the grip on these is incredible, and in 18 months of wearing Vivo boots, I've never rolled an ankle, because you kind of react. You're feeling the ground when you stand on something that is uneven. You can feel it before you've actually gone over, whereas on some of the stiffer boots that I've got, like my Scarpas, you know, my ankle would have gone. One of the problems with these though is because they're really thin, in winter your feet get really cold. So it doesn't matter what insoles I've put in, you know, you're feeling the cold because you're just so close to the ground. There's no insulation there really. So I got some of the winter version, which I brought with me today. Now these are still not the warmest of boots, but they are warmer than the Tracker Forest. So this is I'm not sure what model it is, but it's a Vivo Barefoot. It's a winter boot. It's waterproof, so it says winterproof on there. It's got a little bit of lining in there, and then there's like a thermal insole with them. But it's got like a bit of a fur inside all of that. So they are warmer, but still, in below freezing, I was getting cold feet in these. But I had a problem with them. So just how tough they are. You would expect a hiking boot to have a little bit of toughness. So I got out the tent and can't remember what it's for now, but probably a wee. And I just tucked my laces inside my boot like that and put my boots on, like probably most of us have done before. And as I'm walking along, one of these little hooks, you may be able to see them there, caught on the laces on the other one, and the lace just ripped the boot straight through it. All I've done is a little trip on some grass. Fortunately it wasn't any worse than grass, didn't fall over anything, but it totally destroyed the boot. I didn't bother you know, going through Vivo or anything like that for a warranty, so there's nothing against them for the warranty. In fact, I've got another issue with these boots as well. You know, just pulling them tight. Where is it? Yeah, so these little roller things there for your lace to go through, one of them just tore out there, so that one has disappeared. So I can't lace this boot up properly. These are over £200 a pair, and I think for that kind of money they need to last you longer. So yeah, these are 18-month old, but yeah, look at this. So yeah, it's coming away there on the sole as well. Now I do look after these, you know, I clean them and I wax them, but it's just falling apart on the front, and water does get in there now. But they're very different to a regular hiking boot, so they are usually tougher as old boots. You know, these are just lightweight. You can't do that with a pair of regular boots, can you? So lightweight materials are going to be less durable, but for the money I want more durability. I think you can send these off to Vivo and they will resole them and repair them for you. They'll probably repair that as well, but I don't know how much that's going to cost. I'm not the sort of person that likes to faff around doing that kind of thing, to be honest with you. I just want them to last for 5 years. But yeah, really comfy, but not as robust as I'd like them to be. Let's get these back in the bag. So considering that these are my favourite boots of all time, I don't feel like I can wear them at the moment. Let me explain why. So since the injury to my left knee, both of my knees have felt worse than they've ever felt before. So I'm thinking that maybe overcompensating for my left knee is making the right knee, you know, work in a way that it's not used to. And it doesn't seem to matter at the moment whether I'm wearing slippers at home, walking barefoot around the house, or wearing my barefoot shoes. I'm feeling every little shockwave. It's like having a car with no suspension on it. I don't know whether it's the cartilage in my knees have fallen to bits. Everything seems to have come together in a bad way at the wrong time. I've had to go back to shoes with some cushioning in them. So I've swapped over to the trail runners again, which have got about 1 inch of cushioning in them, and it seems to be taking away all of that pain again. So it's still got the zero drop, so it's a flat foot. It's got the wide toe box. So something I hadn't mentioned before, my toes now look nothing like they used to be. If I try to get in my old hiking boots, my feet don't fit in. They've grown a size. It's almost like your toes are like that, scrunched up in shoes all of the time. Wearing these wide toe box shoes, your feet are spreading out. It's a little bit like having hands for feet. Look at how much space is in there to move my feet around. So I 100% don't regret switching over to a zero drop shoe, because my hips are still fine, and a wide toe box, so I feel like I'm more stable on my feet now. Although, like I say, my knee is still giving me quite a bit of jip. I know I'm a little bit overweight, which doesn't help, but I don't feel confident that I could do any sort of hiking unless I've got cushioning. When I think about it, when I did the West Highland Way last year, even then I've been wearing barefoot shoes non-stop for 6 months. I didn't feel like I could do the West Highland Way in barefoot shoes, because after a certain amount of time, anything 10 miles plus, my feet, they just felt like they'd been beaten up. So I had to put on some trail runners for that. I got some Ultra Olympus, I think they're called, and yes, I was able to do the West Highland Way with no aches, pains, blisters or anything like that. So cushioning for me is what I need. I think I might need to get some waterproof trail runners though. So I haven't gone from loving barefoot shoes to hating them, but I've started to doubt whether having no cushioning is doing my knees and the rest of my body any good. So I'm not going to say that I'm never going to wear barefoot shoes again, because I've had overall a really good experience using them. They have helped out with hip pain, things like that, but I am going to be using them more sparingly now. Definitely for longer hikes or rougher terrain, I need some kind of cushioning, which is a bit of a disappointment, because I thought that barefoot shoes, they give me a lot more stability, and I thought they were the answer to a lot of the problems that I had while I was out on the trail. And I've recommended them to so many people, family, friends, people in the comments. I've even said in videos the positive effect that they've had on me. So I thought it was only fair to balance things out and say some of the negatives that I'm feeling at the moment about them. But the really good news is I'm feeling so much more confident again wearing the trail runners. That little bit of cushioning is allowing me to get out again, and reasonably pain-free as well. I'd be really interested to hear your experiences with barefoot shoes. So please let me know in the comments your thoughts on barefoot shoes. It's definitely nice weather for ducks. They look like they're loving it today. Yeah, they stealing all your bait?
Oh, I've just chucked a load of dead maggot in.
That's all I've got for you today. Thank you if you made it to the end. I'll see you next time.